everybody, it's Paige Evans. Thanks for joining me today here on my YouTube channel. I want to show you how to create an eye-catching layout in 20 minutes. That's right, this entire layout came together in 22 minutes. So I'm starting with all of the floral pattern papers, which I actually just used on my previous process video, creating that tag flip through. So I had cut these little rectangles out of all of these pattern papers, and I just love all of these florals together, so I decided to not worry about picking and choosing pattern papers. I knew these ones all looked good together, so I just grabbed this pile of papers again and set out to create a torn paper layout. So I trimmed off the barcode strips from all of these papers so I could get a full 12-inch length of the paper, and I'm going to save those barcode strips and use them on a different layout sometime. And so I am just tearing the pattern papers, and I want the white edge to show, so you start on the top right, and just depending on which hand is your dominant hand is the way that you tear. And I was trying to make them into triangular wedges so that they were thinner on the right side and a little bit thicker on the left side, so that my layout will cascade down. And I'm just going through the pile of these floral papers and tearing strips of pattern paper and tucking them underneath one another. I'm not gluing anything down yet at this point. I just want to see if my idea will look how it looks in my mind's eye. Sometimes pages turn out and sometimes they don't, and we live and learn, and it's just a fun creative exercise. At this point, I'm trying to pick the background. I pulled a few different options, and I decided I needed a pop of yellow, so I grabbed that yellow pattern paper. And even though it's not floral, I guess those tiny polka dots can kind of act like a floral, but I really just wanted that extra pop of yellow, and I decided to keep the pink ledger paper for my background. I trimmed off the barcode strip from the pink paper, and then I am going to lightly adhere, well, I guess not lightly, I'm going to adhere the torn paper strips in place, starting at the top. And then I realized that I missed a floral paper. This floral paper has floral designs on both sides, so I tore another strip and I will add that into the mix as I go along. So I'm adding double-sided adhesive onto just sections of the backs of these torn paper strips, and starting at the top and tucking each piece underneath. Doing this one at a time. If you want to make sure that these stay in place permanently, you could add machine stitching, or eventually, as I'm finishing up the layout, I went through and added some liquid glue behind the paper strips to make sure that they stay in place permanently. At this point, I knew I might change my mind about the placement, and so just tacking it down with some adhesive to make sure that I was liking the direction this was going. So here's where I added in that blue floral that I just tore, and some of the edges are showing through, and that's okay. Once you finish the entire page, you don't really notice, and I distress the edges as well, and that kind of takes away from any of the spots that are peeking through the background. So here we go. I'm distressing the edges even more to create texture and dimension, and honestly, the bulk of this layout is pretty much finished. By layering all of these pattern papers, I have a really fun and eye-catching design going on. So you could just add your photos and title and journaling and call it good. But there was one other thing I wanted to do, and that was just add more and more florals. So I grabbed these two photos of Jane and a new package of the floral and leaf die cuts. I forgot to mention that I'm using my Go the Scenic Route collection with American Crafts. It's my newest collection, just starting to arrive in stores. And so I'm placing these flowers cascading down. So these pattern paper, torn paper strips are going horizontally, and these florals are going to go vertically, and that balances everything out. Again, not gluing anything down yet, but once I liked the placement, I took a picture with my phone, because I wanted to do some mixed media to create one more layer of interest. So I'm grabbing some white acrylic paint and a regular paintbrush as well as a toothbrush, moving those flowers off. So I always use the lid of the acrylic paint to mix the water and the paint. And then I'm splashing with a brush first and then coming in with the toothbrush. Don't worry, I don't use this toothbrush to brush my teeth. It's solely used for scrapbooking and paint. So I love the finer mist that it creates and also some of the bigger droplets. And then I came in with the paintbrush once again to create some of the bigger splashes. And I'm focusing all of this splashing and splattering and misting where the flowers are going to cascade down. And so most of this paint gets covered up by the flowers in the photos, but you do get to see some of the paint picking out from behind the petals and leaves, and again, it's just another layer of interest. So I'm referring to my phone. You can't see the phone on camera, but it's just off camera. I am referring back to the photo that I took to make sure that I put the flowers back in place. Didn't put them exactly as they were before, just moving things around until I do like the final placement, and then I will use liquid glue to attach everything in place. I'm just adding a dot of adhesive onto the back center of the flowers so that the petals and leaves can bend up and create the dimension that we've got going on. So we've got the dimension from the torn paper strips, those edges, and now we've got some dimension from curling up the flower petals and leaves. Trimming off any excess of the flowers that were hanging off the edges at the top and bottom, and here's where I'm coming in and bending up those petals and leaves to echo and go along with all of that texture. Just a few more things that this layout needs. It needs a title, so I'm grabbing the thickers from Go the Scenic Route, and they are colorful, they match all these pattern papers, and the title is going to simply be Art Camp. My kids took a mythical creatures art camp at one of our rec centers, and they loved it, and they came home with legitimate portfolios at the end. It was so fun for me and my husband to sit down and go through each and every single piece that they created, whether it was on paper or they did sculptures. It was really fun for them and a fun variety of projects. The last step is writing my journaling, so I think I wanted to go down here. I'm drawing lines with a pencil first, deciding that I like it. It's a good balance of the title and the journaling, so I'll finish that up and then underline it with the same pen. And that's the finished layout. 20 minutes, guys. This entire layout was created in 20 minutes. I love when pages come together quickly and easily, but they look like they took hours and hours. So extra bonus, win, win, win. Thank you so much for watching. Let me know if you have any questions, and I'll see you in my next video. Have a great day.